Just waiting on James to come in. Hello guys, good to see you. We're doing a Lads Talk Health again today, so another hour episode. Here we are. Right, Lads Talk Health. Yeah, mate, amazing. I struggling being back in London, to be honest. So yeah, I can't wait to get back out there. We'll catch up definitely soon. You right, bud?
My beautiful friend.
Right?
Amazing, you?
Yeah, really, really good, thank you.
Good, good. What was you just chin vagging about before I jumped in?
Just someone on the chat room who's asked me how Brazil was.
Hello, chat room. Yeah, you can see one of us is tanned, one of us is pale. I've actually tried to dim the lights in the room just so I don't look like I'm suffering in comparison to you, Hazar.
Mine's disappeared. I look like a snowman now. So
No. If that's the case, I'm transparent, so don't say that. Anyway, Lads Talk Health. Mate, this stuff is amazing. It's amazing. It's interesting because I've realised, I watched a couple back and I think, God, Jay, you look like such a sausage. But you forget the camera's on, which is nice, because then it's just us, isn't it, having a chat. So at least then, even if we're chatting shit, we're genuinely chatting shit, do you know what I mean, rather than putting anything off. So it was nice. I've had some feedback. Thank you for the people who are giving feedback. It really is a confidence boost as well, because as Hazard, you know, I know you've been a bit more social media apparent than I have, and yeah, you put yourself out here. It's a bit daunting at first, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, so it's nice. Anyone who says anything nice, lovely. Anyone who says anything negative, great, because that's also a lesson. So yeah, no, it's been good, mate. Exciting. But today's theme. Sorry, go on. Your volume went there, mate.
I'll let you lead it today.
Thank you very much, sir. I feel honoured. So today's theme is I actually contacted Harry about. If anyone did have a theme, because I know we said on the last one, if someone gives a theme, happy to talk about it. And if anyone does pop up with a theme, I think go straight into their theme. But until that happens, and if it does happen, we will switch. But cynicism and the general consensus of cynicism, and how at the minute it's obviously rife with what's going on. You can imagine, because of the fact of the COVID, the virus situation, people are cynical about a lot of stuff, because it's weird. If you really break down what's happened to humanity so quickly as well, you know, if you just sort of switch off from the news and everything else for a minute and just, you know, what did actually happen and how did the events transpire without all, because at the minute you get so much thing you're bombarded at you, it can be very confusing. And anyway, it's just, you know, we all try and do our bit by being positive, obviously. Even on the selfish perspective, being positive feels a lot better than being negative. But on a couple of the pages that I put, you know, information about what we do, which is all positive. There's nothing that you could read. I've read back my message a few times, asked my wife, I said, babe, is there anything in there you could possibly say was like I was trying to sell something, or, you know, and just, don't get me wrong, it's not everyone either. But when you get people coming with such anger, and one guy said to me off the back of a really positive post, you sound like a coke dealer. What? Like, what debate? I thanked him. And what was interesting in that, so this guy, I mean, he really went in, he was saying loads of nasty stuff. And every time, I think what infuriated him is I just absorbed it and just said, you know what? Thank you again, because any time you've taken to read anything I've written, I appreciate. And I'd love to talk with you one-on-one. Like and that was it, just going. But what was interesting is you then had other people, some people jump in to my defence, which I thanked them and said, listen, I really appreciate, and having a go at the dude. And I said, I really appreciate what you're doing, but you're sharing his energy if you know, by defending mine, which is not from a positive standpoint, I'm trying to get this right in my wording, we're then feeding back from, you're defending me by doing what he's doing, and that then you know, that's taking your standpoint from a positive place and turning it negative and cynical by then having to go and calling him names. And then you get a load of other people jump into this guy's defense and start again attacking me just with. But it was interesting. I realized it felt like it was like a two type of person, because I don't believe any of them were bad. I think all people inherently are good from their core values. But it's interesting how you had some that, for whatever reason in their life at the moment's going on, they've chosen to stand up for the positive, and then the contrast that have just seen someone moan at someone for being positive and then just jump on that bandwagon. And like I said, just ridiculous things got accused of, just silly stuff, nasty stuff about family. And you just think, I felt so sorry and again sad for people at the minute, because you got, like I said, I truly believe they're all good people. The site that they're on, that particular page, that's a page of positivity. So to be infuriated by something I said, there's got to be something, do you know what I mean, that is going on that is, it makes them feel that their comfort zone is to be cynical.
Mm-hmm. I think we're seeing it more and more now with the lockdown and the time of year it is, but I also think it's the consistency of this same routine. It's being locked up, our freedom's taken away, not seeing our family, not connecting with people, not even being able to go to the pub, for example, or go to restaurants. It's like everything that you strive for to break away from your normal routine at work, that's all gone. So within that, there is a suffering and there is some anger and resentment and some fear, right? Because you've had your life effectively taken away from you. So when there is, I feel, when there is positivity from somewhere else, it's like there's an anger there to it, because it's, how are they being positive? And again, people are entitled to their opinions as well. And when you start observing what they've reacted to, and like you said, you're scratching, where's that come from? That can only, for me, lead to one thing, is that there is some suffering, some anger, some pain somewhere within that person. And the way that they express it is doing it like that. Social media as well, just as a whole, is known for that. Mm. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic, because there's kind of the people that do have this rage that maybe not aware of it, or do have this anger that comes out, is the people like yourself on the other end who's receiving it. Because I've been in social media wars when at the end of it, I'm like, why have we even got into that? Just that how draining that is on you. And it's not really necessary. So it's understanding good ways of dealing with it. And again, you always say it, meeting with love. And we'll come on to that. But that, it just feels that you can diffuse a situation. And I think a lot of it all comes down to awareness. We're so unconscious right now as human beings that let's take that same scenario when you're in the car and someone beeps at you. It's just an automatic reaction. It's like you're not, if you were present, you wouldn't react like that. If you were like, right, someone might...
Let me step in on that, because how many times just to let you've done that, and the worst thing is they've beat to you and gone, you're tired, or you're like, and you've been like, oh no, like, and you're like, oh thank you, now you feel like such a cock on the inside. Sorry to jump in, but yeah.
And that for me is the same sort of thing, but just a different example of it. Really, it comes down to not being conscious, not being present with it. Mm. If you were aware that some people will come with that, then you can be okay. They are suffering at the moment. They are going through something. But if you're not, and you get caught into that emotion, you take them words literally. You're now then engaging in this negative energy, which doesn't actually need to be there.
And observation or not, like what I jumped in with in that scenario, which is quite interesting what you just said there. So unconsciously, in the scenario which I'm sure we've all lived it, where someone has beat you to let you know something, and instantly, like you said, like fucking, like to have a look at because inherently, not inherently actually programmed, maybe the cynicism is being programmed, because if that's the natural unconscious response is to be cynical and then turn around and realize, oh, she was just being really nice, then that programming of expecting cynicism, I've created that. So what you said about the energy thing, it wasn't even a negative energy anyway. I built it, manifested it completely out of absolutely nothing from cynicism, which was an unconscious turning to go to, which is a bit shit, isn't it? If you think about it.
We're not able to do certain stuff, but we're seeing this whole world unfold in front of us on social media. We compare ourselves. Sorry, my phone's going. We compare ourselves to certain people or certain things that they're doing, and deep down we're kind of suffering. It's like, I could be doing that. I wouldn't want to be doing that, and I feel myself.
Harry Thomas's phone. Sorry, we're just on the Lads Talk Health currently. Can you ring back? Leave a message.
I'll let. But yeah, I think there's so many different approaches that you can look at this from different viewpoints as well. And I think with all our talks, I just think just having awareness around these topics, because you can relate it back to yourself. And there's always examples where we've all been through that sort of reaction. And then is to really dig deep. Where has that come from? From what they said, is it because deep down I am not that, or I don't know. It's like it's soul searching effectively. You're trying to figure out where has that come from.
Well, the thing is with cynicism, it's obviously impossible to have been stemmed from a place of positivity or happiness or love. So it's a really crappy. Is it an emotion? Be classed as an emotion? It's a way of thinking, but that thought then generates that emotion, that anger, that whatever it is, suspicion to go with it. And there is a lot of that around. A lot, like I said, around. So and most people aren't aware of it. That's the thing. It's almost, do you know what it is? It's become the expectation, because that's what you see on the television. That's what you see in your soaps. That's what you see in your movies. That's what you see, even in the kids' stuff. I've got Antley with me, as you know. He was watching something with Aaliyah the other day, and he said it was an LOL doll thing. The parents out there all know what that is. LOL dolls. It's these little Barbie doll type cartoon characters. And then he told me, he said, yeah, like one of them was saying to the other one, oh, I hate your mum, blah, 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 blah. And the other one was saying, well, I hate you. And he said it was all about hate. And then they would all go at the end of it. I was thinking, I'm not being present here with that, because again, it's then I'm hearing Aaliyah come out with stuff. You know, Aaliyah, like, do you know what, as well, flipping it, she said recently to Leo, oh, you're not my brother. Or, you know, things like little things that she doesn't mean, but she's heard, and she said, I hate you. She said, I hate you to Gazelle. That didn't go down well at all. So yeah, I can see where it comes from. When I say where it stems from, and it was just that particular scenario. So that cartoon, like I said, I've watched a couple now. That cartoon is pink, bright coloured, lots of jolly songs that the kids sing along to. And then you watch a couple of them and you realise some of the themes in there, you think, well, what's the point in that being in there at this stage? Because it's not going to give anyone watching it any sort of, what was that? Someone just said, any sort of positive message at all. Kirsty, how much you update me? Is that for you or for me, mate?
It's number one.
Cool. You're good with that, yeah? But yeah, so it's sad. It is sad, because them people that are being cynical, like I said, it clearly, like you were saying, it comes from something that they're suffering with, some sort of bad place that they're starting from. But because they're just not aware of it, they let that be their lead, and it just can't be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to the energy point before. It's like in times like this, you need as much energy as you can get, because we're not doing all the other things that give us energy. If we're now giving our energy away to reacting and aggressively to not just social media, but we snap at our friends or we snap at our people in our family and get frustrated with the smallest of things, we suffer more like that. And the more that we keep doing this without being aware of it, you will get ill. You'll get really ill, because now we're not mixing up our day. It becomes, if you keep doing it, it's like a habit again. So this reaction of your body will keep building and building, all of a sudden you'll start getting imbalances, and it's important because our energy is so beneficial to our health.
Mm.
If you look at it just from that standpoint, it's negative, it's heavy, it's angry, it's draining.
It is. I was just thinking about my wife. So, as you know, Gaz has got that, she's had that collapsed disc currently, and because of the COVID thing, she's not been able to have there's an immediate injection that is given to some, I don't think to all, but if it's the pain level is severe enough, which is an epidural. Okay, so it goes in the back. I'm sure you know what an epidural is. Anyway, because of COVID, she's not been able to have this medication, so she's only on paracetamol. So, and for those out there who's had anything to do with a disc, like, it is very painful, collapsed disc. But what's interesting is, so over the course of because it's gone on for months now, still waiting, but they're not seeing people because of the virus. She has come off of every social media platform, and she said it was adding to her pain. She said, I feel so much better, even though I'm still in pain, from not being on there. And that's where I said the other day, it was in that part of that conversation when on one of the other videos I said about social media being like a go compare website, because that is literally all people do. And be honest with yourself, yes, you might post something lovely, and a lot of people 9 times out of 10, and it's all amazing, but and it's very positive, you'll still have a look at someone else's page or see what someone else is doing. And my wife, admittedly, she said that's what I used to do, and I don't know why, it didn't make me happy. And yeah, it is. Which goes back to knowing, as every imperfect, perfect creation that we all are, is just knowing that you're enough as well. Because that, again, is something that gets taken away from people from a kid's age. Like, everything Aaliyah watches is about princesses and being so stunningly pretty. You have to look like that. Do you know what I mean? So what it's doing, it's straight away, it's giving someone a gauge of something that's not realistic to compare themselves against, which then we do it now as adults. Mm-hmm. Mate, the day I joined the course to be a life coach was the day I finally gave way to my fucking airline. Like, you see, I'm doing all the stupid thing, trying to get a little bit over. Why? I'm getting old. It's a privilege. I'm not saying I'm old, or I'm 30 now. I'm not, but I'm getting older. Things happen. It's a privilege to get old. My wife always says that to me. You know how much it's a privilege to get old together. And but again, my point is, I'm comparing myself to something else because I'm just myself. I'm just myself, and I'm losing my hair. I'm losing my hair. My teeth, teeth chipped. I was well conscious about that. Like, my brother went with me the other day, I thought you lost your tooth. Again, it hit my ego because a tooth cracked. And these are silly examples, but they're examples where straight away I'm not. So what? Do you know what I mean? If I could just stick in that, so what? You know, I'm not perfect, and I'm alright with that. Then that people around me would also understand that. Okay, yeah, this is alright to be, and that's. Which I think I'm pretty, I'm getting better at doing anyway. But my point is, we all have these programmed cynical views, because even to compare yourself against something else is being cynical. Because if you wasn't being cynical, you wouldn't do it. You would just be quite happy with where you are. Because when you compare, that's a judgment. I don't judge people. Really? Really? How often are you on social media? Because what happens is you'll see the perfection that I'm not there, they're the 10s, or no, they're the 4s. All right, I'll be happy right here in my safety, and I'll make judgments either way. Silly.
Yeah, it starts from a young age of disconnecting us. Like, it's always my toy or my this or you're that. Like, we're all separate again, and I think it becomes more competition. It becomes more of a leadership process and stuff as well, to be the best. And the more that keeps going on, then when we get into our life, then it's business. My business is better than your business, and my president is better than your one. Like, it's always, but yet we could all work together, and all of a sudden there'd be more respect and stuff. But I think now this is the norm. You go on what's the TV program, Love Island, like, just that the bitchiness and the comparisons and stuff as well. But that's what then we strive to be like, as these people. There needs to be a massive shift on that. And I think, again, everything keeps coming back to yourself. But I feel like our reactions because I do it still. There's certain topics when someone posts, I'm like for example, the fitness industry. Some people post stuff, and I'm like, no, and I want to write something. I've really now worked on. It's not my place. That's not my place to get involved. But if you just kept turning up as your best self in all these different areas, and you'll keep working at trying to improve and grow and learning all the time, and then you identify another area of your life that you're not maybe where you should be or where you could get to, but now you're okay with it and keep working, then all of a sudden when all these other things that other people are doing, you can be cool with it because you know, right, I'm still working on that. I'm not there yet, but I'm still working it. Well, what they've said, they're maybe not as informed. They don't know as much because I've now learnt this, and I think, but that's fine. I don't need to then buy it and say you're wrong and da da da. What I feel like, when we teach students and stuff as well, is in the PT world they do things, and yeah, you don't agree with them, you can react and be that person just coming at a negative place all the time, or you can let them do that, but you just show up then and do it the way that you feel like it should and set an example, lead from the front, and then you'll have your own people that will warm to you. And then with the social media, turn it into movie stars. Let's say Brad Pitt, for example. Some people hate him, they can't stand him, but a lot of people love him, love his stuff. And you're gonna get that wherever you go. You can't impress everyone at all, but if you're okay with what you're doing and you're confident and it's all coming from you, then you can be okay with other people not liking it. The more people know you, not everyone's going to like you, and then you can just let go of all these comments that come to you and just be okay with it. Like, save your energy and meet them with love.
100%, 100%. And I think
Good to see you. I haven't seen you for about 5 years, so hope you're doing well.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. Because also, if you are turning up as your best self, it's funny enough, we was having this conversation off camera as well beforehand. Last time we spoke about this was when I was saying that if you're turning up as your best self across all them other roles, as your best self, and that means not caring what other people are thinking about you. And that's not, everyone's got their own, I think, I would hope, moral compass to realise that's not going out murdering people, stuff like that. What I'm saying is if you are just trying to be your best self the whole time and not care what other people are thinking about you, you are straight away not only protecting your energy, you're also protecting the energy of the other people that potentially may have a judgment and then you've fed back into because you're caring about it. That's not doing them any favours either. Whereas if you're just doing you and showing up as your best self, like you said, you're protecting your energy and the energy around you because you just don't give them anything to feed into. If your energy is, you know, it's just like a wall, if things bounce off it, then that is beneficial because hopefully that thing that's bounced off of someone being cynical, judged you once, it might bounce back to him again. I mean, why is he not bitten? Like that guy on Facebook. So he had to go again. I just had that back and then done again. Yeah. And eventually, what's quite funny in that story, he turned his attention to the lady that was having a go back at him, which I said, don't, because you're going to feed into that. Because he realised he'd fed up with having his ball bounce back at him. And he's like, you're catching, and you're going to throw me because I want to catch. Then you catch a bit of your negative energy. So yeah, that is 100% the truth. Turn up as your best self across the board. And not only will you feel better about yourself anyway, because it also means that you're removing your egotistical views of yourself. Because if you're not turning up as your best self, it's because there's someone in deep inside is you're not feeling for whatever. I'll make it relevant to myself. Sometimes I don't bounce out of bed at 6:30 in the morning to cut the wood for the log burner to warm the family up in the house. And I feel, and I'll judge myself for it. And I'll realise that actually I'm not being my best self at that particular point. And in that point, when I do get up to cut the wood, I instantly feel much better about myself and what I've done because I've realised that's a role that I love. I appreciate doing. So even if I'm having a bad day and not wanting to get out because it's quite cold, you know where I live, like I get out and I do it and everything feels much better. And mate, this morning, you know what it's like where I live with the birds. It's just, again, I was being present. I know it's a slightly different subject, but I was cutting the wood for the fire, and I was having one of the members like, "Oh, it's cold," right? And then I just heard these birds singing, like in the tree just above the bottom of the garden. And I looked up, and I just stopped what I was doing, and I just thought, right, I'm not being present even in what I'm doing now. So let me just be present for a minute. And I just watched these two little robins literally bounce down the tree. I was telling my wife till they got, and he was sort of tweeting the whole way until because I just literally held the space, just looking, thinking, come on, some sort of connection. But anyway, just sitting there just to share that moment in nature, and it was just lovely. And then it just instantly, I became present with my surroundings again. I looked around, I was like, oh my God, there's the canal, there's the fields, there's the horses. What the fuck was I moaning about? Or do you know what I mean? It was just like, it brings you back to, and that's my best self. That was my best self in that role at that time. Silly example, but it's an example, because then I came back into the house just appreciating the fact that I'm able then to put the fire on, get the kids up and ready for breakfast and all the rest of it, help the wife, blah, blah, blah. And it starts my day off on that important role, which is the foundation of my day, as my best self. It's a lot easier to fill them other roles.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And then when people do have their opinion and stuff, you know you don't need to react, because you know it's not you, because you are turning up as your best self. It does highlight something. Okay, that's interesting. I accept that. Well, I can work on it differently as my best self. And it's like all the different roles that we play. If you just turn up as your best self, that cynicism that someone else has to show you, then it will get deflected, because you know, right, boom, it's just going back. And after a while, they will get tired, and they'll stop their attention somewhere else. That's I guess that is ego as well. It's you're deflating their negative energy by not reacting to it. And I guess a good example is not cynicism as such, but what you mentioned in the car, where let's say that you pull up at the lights, and it might be like 12 o'clock at night, and someone pulls up next to you. There's lads in the car, you know they are, and you're sitting there like that. And they're literally swearing, or they're doing something, you know they're communicating with you, right? So you could decide to look, and you're going to get caught in that drama. So imagine that's Facebook, the comments. And you're just being, by you being like staying there, you're love. But as soon as you go into this, you don't know what's going to come up. That's then going to be draining, right? So this person's going to keep throwing at you. They're going to keep doing stuff. Stand there. The light goes and you drive off. What happens to them? It just disintegrates. You just feel like, what have I wasted that for? That for me is similar to how to deal with these comments on Facebook, on social media, because they're entitled to their opinion. They are mostly in a bad place, or they haven't gone on that day. I don't know anything about it. Something I said might have not resonated. It could have had a really important meaning to that person's life, and they're now getting angry with it, which again is fine. But because I delivered that, and I'm happy with what I delivered, and I'm confident with it, I can be okay with it upsetting certain people, because I'm still coming from my best self and a good place. I think the suffering also comes when we are putting stuff out that is controversial, that we're not even believing ourselves, or we're selling them we don't agree with, and you're conning people, and people get angry that way. So it's to be aware, first of all, the cynicism giving, but also why is it coming your way? If it keeps coming, then maybe it's a reality check to actually take the time to look. Rather than getting in the drama, there's maybe something that you are doing that it might be worth addressing.
And I think that is a really good point, because there is, so sometimes me and my wife are very different, you know. I'm Mr. Positive, and she'd say she's the real one, she's the reality. You know, guys. But at times I say to her, why are you so cynical? But then there's things that she has said which has come to fruition. Do you know what I mean? So I'm accusing her of being cynical, because I've been positive about it, and it's not worked out as the result. And the expectation naturally, innocently from my end, to just think, okay, just give that person a chance to be a human, and surely they'll be okay. I was wrong, she was right. So that's an interesting dynamic then, because you could say, that she wasn't being cynical to an extent. She was trying to protect even my energy, her husband's energy as well. So yeah, it just opens up so many different conversations, because you know, and what you just said as well, one of the things you just said was you alluded to the fact that, you know, it's just that at the minute everything is sort of coming from that negative standpoint, which is why when I started off by saying about that, just a general consensus that cynicism is the way to go. That's what's a shame, because yes, there is an element of reality that, you know, things are a bit, with what we're being told about the virus and everything, people dying, what we're being told, that's awful. It sounds awful. Now, you could just keep going round telling everyone about it, because that's what a lot of people are doing. That's all they want to talk about. And even if you don't believe in energy, spirituality, whatever, or just being positive, you must understand, if that is all that's consuming you, that's coming into you and then going out of you, have you really took a second to think, is that doing me any good? If I'm just hearing something that's made me go, that sounds awful, which I could switch off and I don't even hear that. But then I'm going to let that, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share that with you. Did you hear about this? And did you hear about that? So you're then passing that on. Does it not make sense with everything that else is going on at the moment to say, okay, I'm hearing it. I'm going to switch that off now, though. What can I do for myself and the people I love at the minute?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe just phone them up and say, how you doing? You all right? Talk about the football. Talk about the salon. Talk about something that you talk about when you get off the phone. You're smiling. You're not going, yeah, no, it's a real shame. And then, you know, then, who's you on the phone to? But I was on the phone to, I was on the phone with my mum. Yeah, I'll talk about, just share it around. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame that there's not more people just willing at this point to stand up and say, do you know what? Let's just get on. Let's move forward. Because we feel, I mean, well, we're stuck. I mean, what is going on? I don't know to be honest, I don't really watch the news. So I hear things, and I'm not exaggerating that either. So I've heard there's talk of lockdown till summer. Have you heard this? No.
I'm not paying attention to it at all.
So no, I heard this. But my point is, I didn't want to go into the conversation about it. The point is that something's making this bigger, because at the minute, all you hear people say, "Oh, I can't see an end to this. I can't see an end to this," because you're being fed that there's no end to this. So maybe it's time to switch that off and just think, do you know what? They've not taken away love. They're not taking away kindness. They're not taking away my family. To an extent, I know that physical interaction that you get fine now if you're outside your bubble and all the rest of it, but you still got that person there that you can call and make that phone call and share something positive with it. I mean, the beauties of technology these days, you could get your family together on a Zoom or a Skype and just try, and because there'll be people, like in my family, there's positive people and there's negative people. It's important to make, again, protect your energy, but there's nothing wrong with trying to pick people up as well.
Mm-hmm. It's the COVID's this is why it's all happening at the moment, because you are grabbing some information, you're now feeling illness, and then you're like, oh, let me just tell someone else about how bad this news is and let me throw it on someone else. People don't need that right now. Like, if you really think about, we are in a bad place in terms of not seeing family and friends and stuff. But you don't make it even worse. It's like, if you can, your intention for the day would be, okay, I know this is going to be around me at the moment. I know a lot of people are going to bring this to me, but my job today is going to change it. Every time some negative comes, let me talk about what they like. Let me talk about their kids. Let's talk about next year in the future when we do it. Because we are waiting for change, and we are waiting when things get better. But it doesn't look like it's going to get better any soon. So if that is the case, shall we really talk about all this bad stuff every single day? Or if we knew that, right, it was till summer, fuck it. Let's make it a really good lead up to summer inside the house. Let me turn it into a project. Every day I'm going to really improve someone else's mood. I'm going to bring some more positivity there. Because your whole day is engulfed with this nonsense at the moment of just bad news. So why have it on the TV? It's like, It's like having a horror movie on a film to repeat all
On
day.
loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would say if someone's recovering, is that good for them? No, not at all. That's what the news is doing. There's not
Mm,
one success story on the news at all.
mm. Yeah, well, that being said, there is thousands and thousands and thousands of massively positive people out there that share love every day and kindness with strangers. I've seen amazing acts of kindness from people during these times as well. So, although the theme today was negative in regards to cynicism is negative, it's just being aware of it. Be aware of it, people. I think that's the message. Just be aware, as like Haz has pointed out, is what is your cynicism and what is actually just being fed into you, what are you regurgitating and what are you actually engaging before you speak. There's a big difference, because there is a load of positive people out there and there's so much to be positive about, and that's what we need to do as human beings, is just make sure we're just being kind to each other. That's just a really small start. Kindness is vital at the minute, absolutely vital.
To each other, like yourself as well. Be kind to yourself. Like,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Self-worth. You are, and we always say this, every single one of you, us included, we're incredible. We are incredible. We are not an accident. If you look, all you have to do is do a little bit of research into natural science about our anatomy and how we are made up. And there's still a lot we don't know yet. But what we do know is there is billions of things happening every second just to keep you alive, every single second. So if you can't appreciate how amazing you are, then you need to. It's as simple as that. You're incredible.
yeah, and knowing that and use that as your driving force for the next week. Literally be, okay, let me pay attention to the words that I'm using. Let me pay attention to my thoughts I'm using. Let me listen to the conversations and what am I doing within it? Am I reacting? Am I getting more into the gossip? Am I moaning and bitching at someone else? Or can I flip it? Can I now make it positive and make it someone else's day happier, a stranger, and just say a compliment to them? Or you notice something about someone, or go and reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in ages and appreciate them. And all of a sudden, this shift of feeling good, helping each other, when you're in that space, you're then not going to be like cynical at all. There's no point, because you're keeping yourself in a good place by being happy and grateful. Continue, because all of a sudden it'll rub off other people. And if we knew that we had control of our own lives at the moment, and let's say that there was a power cut, there was no news for a week, would you be bitching and moaning about what's being told to us? No, because you can't see it. But what we could do is get collectively together and work on a movement.
Love that. Love that. Should we wrap up?
Yeah. It's coming up to that point now. But that's my ask to people is just to pay attention to your own energies at the moment and pay attention to the negativity that comes your way, but know it's going to come your way. Know that there's a lot of people suffering right now and there's a lot of people moaning, a lot of people in fear, but know that. So when it does come your way, at least you can take a step back and know it's not personal, and then you can meet them with kindness.
I think that's amazing, and that's bang on. And one little practice, if you can relate to what we're saying, and if you can be bothered to try this, but any time, just for one day, anyone wants to talk to you about how horrible the situation is currently, just say, yeah, but it's going to be great soon. It's going to be okay soon. We're going to get through this. And just leave, and they might, oh yeah, no, I know, but we're going to get through this. And I promise you, within 2 or 3 times of you saying that, no matter what they say, you'll see a shift. You'll see a shift, because what really is happening in many cases, that's just fear. And it's oblivious fear as well. It's the thing to say at the minute. And because I'm saying it and I'm thinking it, my emotions are up in it. But hold on, this person's just saying, yeah, but it's all right, it's going to be okay. Yeah, but this, oh yeah, maybe he's right, maybe she's right. Simple little thing. Try it. I'm doing that. That's one thing I'm doing. I won't talk to no one about COVID when I go post office or whatever else, or when they do and they talk to me about it, it's exactly what I do.
They just flip it. Right.
Yeah. But do you know what? Humans have survived far worse than this. And now look how much more technologically advanced we are. And you can't argue with any of it. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. So
yeah. It's almost like that little shake up. It's very back to now. Be positive.
Yeah, it's like get that people are stuck in them snow globe things. And do you know what it is? All at the minute, all the positivity and all the love and all the energy is just sunk to the bottom. Just shake it up, and what happens? Surrounded.
Yeah, I use that same analogy for your soul. At the moment, your soul is just sitting at the bottom of your stomach. It just wants to be appreciated, wants to be loved, it wants to just be nourished and looked after health-wise. And if you just did a few of them things, being your best self, your soul will flourish. And then when you go into this awakened state, you'll be a lot happier as well because your soul's happy. Just need a little shake-up.
Well, mate, as usual, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. You want to wrap the show up?
And thank you for listening, guys. We'll do loads of different conversations, everything health. Lads Talk Health. We'll be back soon. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.